little update on this video before you get too started. There isn't actually any footage in here of me catching a rat. I'm in the middle of editing and my 6 terabyte Skyhawk surveillance drive has just died. Seagate are going to replace it, but it means I've lost like a month's worth of footage over where this trap was. Not much has happened, so this is going to be a part 2 leading to a part 3. Anyway, let's get on with it. Alright, we're back for another video. This one's going to be rat part 2. To fill you in, we've had rats in our roof. Not an unusual occurrence, but I decided to use one of the spare channels on my DVR and put a surveillance camera in the roof. And you'll find the link below to the previous episode, but I might be able to stick a little bit of footage over here of what happened. Well, I put a full-size rat trap in, and I had a rat that was considerably bigger than the trap. I'm pretty sure he's got a sore nose at the moment, but my trap went missing. Now, that camera is in one little corner of my roof that is accessible only by shifting a roof tile. So today, what I'm going to try and do is get a decent pan-tilt zoom camera and put that right above the manhole. Let me grab the camera. Let's have a look here. These are some of the ones I have on a 40-foot pole near my house. Big ones, but this will allow me to look all around and zoom in on different areas of the roof space, provided I can get it high enough up. There is, of course, a big aluminium bracket that goes with it as well. So when we get that in the roof, we'll be able to have a better look all around and investigate things at a bit better vantage point. It'll be a little bit more cinegraphic or cinematic. The camera I have at the moment is a 720p up there. This one's a 1080p with 36 times optic zoom. So let's get cracking. I'm going to figure out if I've got enough cable up there too. So we've got a little bit of work to do. But first of all, we've got to get the ladder out, and we have to get up onto the outside of the roof and shift that tile up, disconnect the old camera, and then get a bunch of wooden dowels joined together so I can actually reach that cable without having to crawl through the roof. Because with multiple sclerosis, I can't quite do the roof crawling that I used to, so I have to be a little inventive about how I get a cable moved around there. Anyway, let's go and get outside and get this ladder. I've done a little bit of tree trimming as well, because my tree has been a little bit out of whack. Now, off memory, one of these, this one I think, but it's right near the camera. Alright, now we're going to need some drill bits to get that out and work out. We need at least 8 meters of this cable to do what we plan to do. So let's have a look here. We've got, that is from shoulder to that is about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, that's a good number. Alright, 13 meters of cable. Hope we're not going to get rain the second I've decided to climb up here. Clip that on so we don't lose it. Now I'll unscrew that camera and we'll get up with a rod as well. So we've got to get back down again, and I might adjust my ladder position. It's a little tenuous at the moment. We'll reposition that. Alright, let's get my threading rods. Alright, so we're back down at ground level, and I've got a few things to do first. Firstly, I've got a big stack of dowel. There's a pile of it over there. These are about 2.5 meters long. First thing I need to do is whack a piece of wire on one end, so that when I do locate these in the roof, I can use another threading rod from the other end to hook onto it and drag it through. I'll just run a fair bit of insulation tape around this. Right, it's all good, and a backwards hook here can be useful as well. I'm going to join 2 of these rods with tape. The other piece of wire that I dropped on the ground, this one's going to be handy for getting the tiles back into place. That can go pocket down there. I've got a drill to bring back up, clip on my chin harness on my helmet cam. I'm going to check a message and then we'll get back up there. A lot of you guys are probably going to complain about ladder safety. Duly noted, guys. To my credit, I have done a lot of ladder climbing in the past, on 100-foot and plus structures. I need to get my other one down there. But yeah, complacency will kill you if you're not careful with some of these things. Alright, so now this guy's got to go in first. We're going to swing it round in the right direction. Alright, it's made the turn nicely. Now where's our tape? It's in one of these pockets. I know I put it in here somewhere. That one. So our number 2 rod is going to get connected. Black cockatoos, I swear, they find me every time. That was the bane of my existence in the fire tower. I love the things, but they used to drop stuff on me everywhere I went. Like pine cones, sticks, rocks. They just didn't like me being in the fire tower. Alright. Well, I'm going to tape over the connector on this so that it doesn't get snagged in things. Messy tape job, but it'll work. Alright, now, tricky bit. Now that is not a power cable, by the way, that's just a telephone line. Okay, this is going to be tricky getting these attached to each other. I might have to put another tile up to make a bit of room. Well, at least allow me to get it in that position. Alright, I might remove that camera first to make me a little bit more room. Alright, one screw I think was enough for this guy. I'm using square drive Robertson screws, by the way. I love these Ryobi ones with the rubber coating. They don't slide down the tiles like literally everything else does. Case in point there. Now, the whole idea here is to make this reachable from the manhole with another stick or 2. Alright, get them joined. And if we can squeeze it down a bit, we'll join that one as well. Alright. Insulation tape, magic stuff, but get the proper Nitto brand stuff. There's really no replacing it. Alright. I'm not sponsored by them, by the way. Alright, that should be following along the main joist. Look, yep. It's feeling like it's hopped over things a bit. Yep, now this guy, I want to be careful how I feed this cable because I don't want it to tangle. Stick that there for the moment. So we want to feed this in a fairly linear fashion. You know what I could do? I could just leave it out like this till I pull it through. It should hang straight. I hope it doesn't rain while I'm up here, or while I've got the roof open. Right, time to back it down our ladder and then relocate it back inside. In fact, I might just at least pull this tile down, reduce the gap a little bit on that one, reduce the amount of water that comes in if it does happen to rain. Take you guys down. Alright, let's have another crack at this. Okay, roof we go. Where are we? Now, this guy can go up in here somehow. Right. Now, that ladder needs to come back a bit. That's why you wear a helmet when you do this. Right, it's nice and dark up here. Now, I've got exhaust fan running. Give me a bit of air up here, a small light, and because we're filming I brought myself a backup light. Okay, that should give us a bit of reference point up here. Okay, well I found the missing trap. It turns out it was right near the, oh no, that's the other trap. I set that off with a piece of wire. the other day. So there's still a missing trap up here somewhere. I don't know where it is. Let's have a good look up here. I still can't see it. That's pretty much the main aim of today. Maybe we can balance this on one of the joists and get a good view up here. Let's try and get our lighting sorted out first. I don't like being in roofs. I've done far too much of it. Alright, now, clear my hands first. Let's take a methodical approach here. Can we do that? And now my phone rings. I'm gonna have to deal with it. Stupid flashing lights. Okay, let me get this phone call. Alright, so I found myself a good position for my light. That phone call was somebody who's like, oh, sorry for disturbing you while you're in the roof, I'll call you back later. I'm like, well, you're talking to me now, might as well make it worth your while. Alright, let's shove this in the back here. This is actually our cleaning stick for the cameras, but we can hook one of them on here. This is how I get around actually having to crawl through roofs these days, is using sticks and lots of them. Luckily I got a lot of these wooden dowels from a hardware store when they closed down. The local one. There we go. Yeah, one of these guys. That one. You can get threaded fiberglass rods. Now I did use them on a previous job. Oh, I'm rolling these cables up in another camera cable. Yeah, I did use those fiberglass rods on a previous for a previous employer, and they're bloody magic. I haven't been able to find where I can buy them though, that's the only thing. And to be honest, I don't do a whole lot of this anymore, so it's probably not worth me buying a set. Where's our cable here? Well, this is good, at least we know our cable at least reaches this far, which means it will be able to put it where we want to. I want to put the camera nice and high up in the roof here, so that we can see a maximum area of the roof. I'll probably stick it on that post right there, which seems at a funny angle to be honest, but I don't know, far be it from me to challenge the builders that are qualified and leave big piles of VB and Melbourne, of Vic Bitter and Melbourne Bitter cans in the roof. I think that's pulled all the way through. Alright, now while I'm up here, I'm going to get that adapter on here. I think I might leave that tile open while I do most of the job here, and then I don't have to get up and down ladders so many times. Alright, still got NFI where that other rat trap is, even with the brighter light up here. Stand on the top rung, which is not recommended. I don't see the trap anywhere, this is the thing, or a dead rat. Yeah. That's actually quite a mystery to me. That trap has gone MIA big time. It could be down, it could be actually not very far away from its original location, but it's such an inaccessible spot. I don't know. I might take the GoPro off the helmet here and shove it in the hole, or shove my phone in to film a bit, but you know what, actually second thought, I might not bother. I can't smell the stink of a dead rat up here, so I'm going to conclude that he's probably taken off with that trap. Alright, so let's pull my sticks out of the roof and get up here with the camera. So, let's go and get cleaning stick down. It's a rag on a stick. It's a Simpsons reference, because I wash myself with a rag on a stick.
I wash myself with a rag on a stick.
If I'm lucky, I will have used that reference by this point. Now, this one has got itself wrapped up with a hook around everything up here, which a majority of the time is what I want, but this time is not what I want. Unhook you. I'm glad I don't do this for a living anymore. I hate being in roofs. Worst of all, it's crawling between these joists. Right, now the hook is going to want to go down. Go down, hook. shove you in the corner down there. Right, let's get down and get our camera and drill and some screws and get back up again. Alright, throw everything up in the roof first. Alright, and pockets are full of everything else. Now, I just headbutted the door frame and lost my cool. That's one of my faults. My ladder has shifted forward, which is not going to make this easy, but I should probably get down and shift the ladder back. You'll find out when I fall through the roof on camera and then have to edit that out. Right, unused mouse trap or rat trap can go here. I'm saying rat trap in lieu of mouse trap. Yeah, I'm going to have to climb down and shift my ladder back. I can't get the desired stance. Now let's watch the door frame this time. Okay. Up. And I'm losing my belt because my tools are snagging on the manhole. Okay. Well, I would say the previous tenants here have had problems with rats in the past. Alright. Or at the very least mice, but I have literally seen rats running around in here. Okay, so let's get our camera. Oh, I'll get a screw in here. Hopefully we can hang that from here. Okay. This is going to be a little bit cockeyed, largely because that's the way the post is in here. But let's see. Should still be able to get some sort of an angle that is useful for filming. Right, there's one in there. I'm trying to, it looks cockeyed relative to the post, but the post is at a funny angle, and I'm sorry if I'm headbutting everything, but there's a joist right over my head. Right, that should keep it stable, steady and stable. That's what I'm trying to say all at once. Let's go our signal cable. Hopefully we don't short this out and reset the DVR. We have power. Should see this turn around and do a calibration in a moment. And we need to probably remove the coating that's on the sensor and everything in here. There we go. The lens protector's off. Let's reset this camera back to its original position. Pick up our spare screws, and then we'll go back outside and put the tile back on. And this is the piece of wire I was using for doing it in the first place, so that will be handy. This trap can stay up here for now, because I will bait that later. Alright, I'll leave the manhole off. I've got to go down and now fix over there. Let's take this with me. Now, reposition my feet and we'll get out of the roof and fold up out the manhole and not leave that in the roof. It'll be the first time a tradie's done that. Alright, so I'm back on the roof and I forgot my piece of wire, so this could get to be more interesting to try and make it work on. This particular tile has a chunky bit there that actually does make this a lot more difficult. I may have to get down and get my piece of wire if the file trick doesn't work. I need to get this over that initial lip and give it a wriggle. Yeah, this might work. The last tile when you do this stuff is always the worst. Alright, we got that without the bit of wire. Certainly a lot easier. The trick is you hook the wire under with a bend on it and you twist sideways so you can snag onto one of the ridges on the bottom of the tile, and as you pull it, it rides up over that one without the downward force gripping it on there. Bit of a trick, but it does work pretty well. Alright, let's get out of here and we'll go and put some bait on. Alright, so we're back down at house level. I've got some beef jerky here I'm going to stick in and under around this trigger in fancy ways that make it really hard to remove without pulling on it. quite firmly. Alright, and we'll set this trap up here. I've got a piece of wire on here. I'm going to whack a screw into one of those joists and try and peg this down where the camera can watch it. Now, fun fact, I've had to wire that into the exhaust fan circuit. So when you turn the exhaust fan off, the camera's going to go out. And that's because this camera draws so much current that it's getting just wild voltage drop, even down about 10 meters of cable. And I won't pan and tilt and use the illuminators and all that properly. So for the time being, we're going to leave the exhaust fan running while we're leaving the camera running until I can find a better way to power the thing. It probably involves running more cables, but I really don't want to do that today. So let's get up there, put a screw in and tie this down. All right, more stuff in the roof. All right, rolling. Okay. All right, well, here's our camera up here. And yeah, the wiring, which we won't go into detail about, I know it's dodgy. There is rat crap like everywhere up here. I'm definitely going to have a shower after I'm done with this. Don't fancy getting leptospirosis. How did we do this last time? We set that up like that. Alright. Whack our trap. Actually, we might whack our trap a fair way along here. That'll give us a better idea as to where it is. Now, I know they like to run along these joists. So, I'm going to run our trap around like this. Now, just happens to be the manhole is right above my apprentice's office, so you'll hear her at work as well. Now, put our fingers on the bail here, and we're going to hair trigger this guy a little bit, right on the very edge. Alright, so hopefully, I've seen them running around. Let's move our camera up. I've seen them running around up along these top joists before, and they tend to use these bits as highways. That's the bit that I've learnt from the previous recording, was that they use these beams as highways, and the concentration of crap around here tells me they spend quite a bit of time down here, and probably nest a little bit looking at those turds. So, and they're on top of the exhaust fan, they're everywhere. Now, some of you guys, when you do see the footage, you'll see the white marks over here. It might look like bird crap. It's not, it's actually plaster from when the plasterers were working on this house. Case in point, there's right here, good example of that. So yeah, it's not as messy up here as it looks, although it is very dusty and there's a lot of rat crap. So I'd say the rats have been nesting in here for a very long time. Over the very far corner, I know from when I threaded cameras, there is a full-on rat's nest up in there that I removed. So they've been up here for a while, and I think they've been digging up insulation up here. This is pink fiberglass insulation. They've been digging that up for nesting material, and in particularly very bad over there. There's a lot of disturbance over there. So you know, with luck I can catch all of these guys. I don't like to have to poison them, but I could get desperate at this point. Anyway, let's get down out of here now that we've got a camera up here, and we'll come up with a better solution to power the camera later on, because we're getting a lot of voltage drop down that cable just because of the amount of current that pulls. Alright, let's get out of the roof. Alright, so basically we wait now and see if anything takes the bait. Alright, find out if this becomes a part 3. Alright, we're here for a little bit of bonus footage. We're going to be going over my roof cavity and give you a bit of a tour around this. One thing I am repeatedly reminded of when I'm looking at a lot of these DIY videos and stuff, especially places like, you know, Evelyn and Caitlin and stuff, when you look at all their resin casting stuff, their roof cavities in other countries are not like they're made in Australia. Building codes are very different. I did spend a little bit of time over there, and I noticed insulation, number one, is done very differently. Here, As you can see in the roof, we've basically got our battens put across here, our plaster or drywall as you call it, nailed up or plastered up underneath. And then we've just got fiberglass insulation laid over the top. That's about it. The walls in this place actually don't have any insulation in them at all. Some places in this country do, but some houses rather, but yeah, generally it's not called for on the building code, or never used to be. The way the roofs are built are very different. There's trusses everywhere, so you can't, or trusses and frames, you can't really make the area very usable without beams and stuff in the place. It's not quite like an attic. This, by the way, in the background, that's plaster. That's not bird crap. When the plasterers have been up there, you'll see there are handprints of plaster all through the roof. So the plasterers were hanging off the joist with the stuff all over their hands everywhere. We have clay tiles in this roof, which there is a bit of a gap. That does allow for a bit of airflow through the roof, which can help to keep the place a bit ventilated. Even still, it can get insanely hot in these roof spaces. You can see here, this is looking longitudinally across the front of our place. There's some camera cables draped along there. But yeah, the insulation does have a layer of dust and, in this case, bushfire ash that's blown in through the gaps in the tiles settle on the top. There's also a lot of rat droppings everywhere because of the rat problem that we're fighting at the moment. You can see quite a bit poking around up here. We'll probably zoom in on that in a minute. I think I did later on in this. In this case, I'm just checking where some of the cable paths are, making sure there's suitable separation. You'll see what looks like Cat5 cable there. That is Cat5, but it's not running data. I'm running actual little isolator balance. So I'm running an analog camera signal up them and a power line on Cat5 with a little filter at the end. Although these are HD cameras, so they're basically a digital camera on analog cabling. So I've got the best part of IP camera quality over analog cabling. It's a bit of a hybrid. The supplier that I get a lot of these things from is telling me they're getting a lot less popular now. But I find IP cameras to be really hackable, whereas AHD stuff's pretty hard to do that with. The other advantage I like with AHD is I can send a pan tilt zoom signal straight back up that cable without actually having to run an extra pair of wires for it. Here I'm checking out some of the mains cabling. We'll zoom back a bit. I think about here is when I go looking for the rat droppings. I'm just generally having a good look around the place because I can actually see a lot more with this than I can with a torch up there. It's good to have a bit of a look around. This is all old hardwood. This was built as RAF accommodation for the nearby RAF base. I think in the 60s or 70s, this place. But it was all built with locally cut hardwood and not pine like a lot of roofs are now, or a lot of buildings. So over that way, there's an old brass tank over there that formed part of the hot water service header, which is not used, as we have natural gas hot water now. And there's some of the original planks that were put up there by the hot water installers, or from the builders rather, plumbers. There's a pantry in there that drops, the roof level drops down a little bit, and a bit further beyond that's our laundry. And a bit of an extension on the house too. There's something way up the back there that I can't see, I can't identify. I'll have to check that out in more detail one day. I think it's a bucket. We're looking back around the manhole here. There's a piece of timber sitting just off the bottom of the camera there. That's where I originally tested the mouse traps and stuff, or the rat traps. They're bigger than mouse traps. And there's a bunch of cabling down in there that I've never quite identified now. That I'm only just noticing it now. So there's something stuck down there I should investigate one day. This is, of course, the manhole with my apprentice's office down below. We can zoom out a bit of that and see some of the tools I had sitting there. The power supply that I've now moved to a less fire risk place. Some of the old packets from the old stuff. Now there's a big vertical beam across there. That's you see how they've got these beams standing up sideways. They're support beams along the walls. So they're up sideways to form a reinforcement. So it's pretty much my roof cavity. You've seen most of it now. Here's the exhaust fan out of the bathroom here. Now we can have a bit of a look here. Under infrared, rat droppings are actually really easy to spot on top of fiberglass insulation. They have a different level of different refractive index under infrared light. So you can see a couple of droppings sitting on the exhaust fan there, and that explains why they keep coming in. They're only very fresh too, because we clean that fairly regularly. Some of the wiring that is a nightmare up here, but there is at least a socket for the exhaust fan, which is what I've piggybacked off to run the cameras. We'll find a better solution for that. But the Tenancies Act has changed recently, so that we will have to get electrical inspections for this. So my landlord might actually pay to get a lot of this fixed. Anyway, that's about it for now. And so yeah, well, that's the end of the bonus material. But hopefully we'll see you guys when we get a rat or whatever else happens. They haven't been back in a while, but we'll see what goes on. And I've got a new 6 terabyte drive showing up hopefully tomorrow. So this will be a part 3. See you later.